to the last part 3 of document 3 in chapter 9. And we want to speak a little, as I said, about the propagation of the action potential. In this meaning, we want to speak about the propagation of the action potential in a non-myelinated fiber than in a myelinated fiber. What is occurring, or how does the propagation occur? First, look to this document. It exists in your books. Please, it is important, pay attention, the orange part of the document, this orange part, this line, and this lower orange part represent the upper and lower membrane of the axon. This region inside, the yellow region if you want, it is inside the axon. And the green regions up and down represent the external region. Okay? Now what? Look to the here, the red arrow. This red arrow represents the stimulation where the permeability to Na+ ions increased and where the Na+ voltage dependent channels are open and Na+ is entering inside. So as you see, this region represents the depolarization, minus out and the plus in. It is the depolarization. Of course, we will not forget that when we stimulate, if the decrease arrives to the threshold of depolarization, voltage-dependent Na+ channels will open and will let Na massive penetration inside. Massive entrance or massive penetration of Na+ inside. So outside becomes negatively charged because it is poor now in positive ions, while inside becomes positively charged because now it is rich in positive ions. Like this, the action potential is created at this point. The question is, how does this action potential propagate? Now look, in order to understand the propagation, you have to put in your mind that the opposite charges attract. There is attraction between minus and plus. So I will take this region, the right region, my right region, okay? As I said, at this point of stimulation, there is a negative wave, action potential, depolarization. Once this point of the membrane depolarized, it becomes negatively charged. The Na+ next to it will be attracted towards this negative charge. Na+ will come here for many reasons. The first reason, this region is poor in Na+, and it is negatively charged, so there is an attraction. So it is as if I tell you this region of positive charge start to give plus to here. So it's as if I say the positive charge here starts to decrease. It says, يعني tends to be minus. كأنه we start to have a depolarization. Look to this. And inside, the positive charges inside are attracted to the negative charge, as you see, okay? So the upper side tends to become negative, and the internal side tends to become positive. It is as if this region next to the point of creation of action potential starts or approach depolarization. And the resting potential here decreases. So it will come minus 50 or minus 55, and this sodium voltage dependent channel will open, a massive penetration of Na+ inside becomes positive, outside becomes negative, and this minus or this action potential that was here at this point becomes here at this point. and so on in this direction, so on. The same phenomenon will happen between this point now that is depolarized and the next point that is not polarized yet. So this plus, look to this, in the part B of the document. Now the action potential is here. So this plus is attracted towards this region that becomes minus, and also plus to minus. And now what? This region, the resting potential is decreasing, the plus is decreasing, and the minus is decreasing. Yani the resting potential is decreasing, and it becomes minus 50 or minus 55, the threshold of depolarization. So this channel now, Na plus, voltage dependent, will open, and Na plus will enter inside. Inside becomes positive, and outside becomes negative. Look to the part C of this document. So it is like this that the action potential is propagating. In reality, this propagation in this case is in two directions. Okay? Yani the positive will be attacked towards the negative if it is at the left or at the right. But we'll see that when the action potential arrives to the cell body, it will stop there. Yani normally in our body, the action potential or the nervous message passes from dendrite cell body axon or cell body axon to the other neuron, and not from the axon to the cell body. But experimentally, if we stimulate at the middle of the axon, okay, the wave, the negative wave, will propagate in both directions till they arrive to the cell body in one side, and the terminal arborization in the second side of the neuron, at the end of the same neuron. Look to so at the left, the same phenomenon is taking place in part A. Okay, plus is attacked toward minus, and this region, so this plus becomes negative, and inside becomes positive. It is depolarization, and the action potential becomes here, and so on. This propagation. So first, let us write something. Unlike charges, yani opposite charges, attract, so the positive charge will move to the adjacent region of the membrane. As the charge moves to the adjacent region of the membrane, the adjacent region of the membrane will depolarize. If it depolarizes sufficiently, yani it becomes minus 50 or minus 55, as it will, voltage-dependent sodium channels in the adjacent region of the membrane will be opened, and a new action potential will be initiated, and so on. This phenomenon is repeated at each point of the axon. For this, the propagation is called step-by-step propagation. It is a slow propagation because this phenomenon must take place at each point of the membrane of the axon. So it's called step-by-step, and it is a slow propagation. In a non-myelinated fiber, as this one we have in this example, this phenomenon occurs at each adjacent point along the axon. Okay. So this propagation of the action potential is slow and called step-by-step propagation. Now the question: what if the fiber, okay, was myelinated? What will happen then? Okay, it's easy to understand this. Look, I will directly, after this example of non-myelinated, I like to show you a myelinated fiber, and we'll see the difference. But it is the same principle. Positive charge is attracted, will move to the adjacent region, or where there is a negative charge. Okay, it is the same principle. But in non-myelinated fiber, as here, this phenomenon will take place at each point of the fiber. While look to this, in a myelinated fiber, look to this. Here we have a myelinated fiber. This is a myelin sheath. And as we saw at the beginning of this chapter in document 1, that myelin is not continuous. It is discontinuous. There are regions between the myelin sheaths that is nude, does not represent any sheath. So it is called node of Ranvier. Node of Ranvier, it is the region between the sheets of myelin that does not present any myelin. And the yellow part inside, it is the axon, of course. Now look, the same phenomenon. will take place. But this phenomenon now, the attraction between plus and minus, and the movement of the positive charge toward the negative charge, is not at each point of the fiber. لا. From one node of Ranvier to another node of Ranvier. So it has a jumps. It jumps. The charge jumps, or the action potential will jump along the myelin sheath. So as this example represents, this region is negatively charged. It means that here we have an action potential, isn't it? The minus is outside. So this plus in this node of Ranvier is attracted toward this region, this node of Ranvier. And the plus inside toward minus. So this region, this second node of Ranvier, now is depolarizing, and the new action potential will appear here at the node of Ranvier, at the level of the node of Ranvier, and not at each point. So all this region that is covered by myelin sheath will not represent action potential. So the action potential will jump from one node of Ranvier to another node of Ranvier. So this propagation is called saltatory by jumping. Look to this. Let us write something. In a myelinated fiber, as this one below, the same phenomenon occurs, but at each what? At each node of Ranvier instead of each adjacent point of the action. So this propagation, in this case of the action potential, is faster, of course, and called saltatory propagation. Saltatory by jumping. So by jumping for this reason, it is faster. For this, we said that the speed or the velocity of action potential increased with the presence of myelin sheath, because in fibers with myelin, the propagation is saltatory and not step by step. This is all what I want to tell you about the propagation, what you should know, and this document 3 is finished. And next period, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will start with document 4. May God protect you and your family. Stay at home and try to study hard, okay? Thank you.